Hey there, it's Diana again. I just realized that I did not enable my chat box during my Q&A session. Hence, I was not able to see the questions I had during the Q&A session. My sincere apologies. However, I'm going to answer the questions that I saw here in the chat room, and then I'll send it to you again. So one of the questions from Tina is, when getting job search ready in another city, what's the best plan to help you stand out against equally qualified local candidates? That's a great question. So a few things, I think, first of all, is even just tiny things on your resume of your phone number and your contact information is key. Like I can tell you, as a recruiter, why recruit, one of the things is that we want to look for local candidates, and the reason being it's easier to schedule interviews, also less likely that they need to, quicker for them to get hired and to start as well, and less likely that in terms of that we need to fly them in for an interview. So a few things you can do, even quickly, is changing your phone number to maybe that city, or removing your existing mailing address as well, so that they don't really know where you live. But in terms of standing out, I would say, and part of it, to be honest, if you can't fly there, I would make an effort, honestly, to get some informational interviews via videos. And a way to do that is first go on LinkedIn to find those kind of people to network with. Have that phone call on Skype or on Google Plus Hangout, and you can make it a video as well. That's one of the best ways, I would say, to do it. And if you can, try to make it, if you can afford to make a trip to be there for like a week or two, and then but schedule all the meetings that you need to make it a worthwhile trip. Okay. So number two, the question from Ryan. What are some ways to request an informational interview? When asking in the past, one person immediately denied the meeting. I think the purpose was just to clarify, was just to directly get hired there. You know what, Ryan? I think it really depends on the positioning of your tone of voice and the message. I don't know if there is the best way, but I think that instead of what you want to do maybe is clarify the purpose of the meeting and maybe be specific with the type of questions that you have or what you would like to get out of the meeting. And do know it's okay that some people are going to deny because they may not have time. I mean, I do that at times as well, that I'm not able to meet with people for a coffee meeting, but maybe I can answer the question via email. So give people the option. If they cannot meet you through a phone or they don't have the time to, you can ask them, is it okay if I ask you a particular question? What's really important, I would say, is to keep your message short and simple. If you stick to only the rule of 3 questions, I would say you're more likely to get a response. When I have list of questions, like 5 to 10 questions, it takes me a longer time to respond because I need to take time to think about it. It takes me for each question as well, and I need to write it. So it takes me a lot longer to respond. But when it's one simple question, I can quickly respond on the go as well. So a test of what you can do, I would say, is also get feedback on your outreach message, whether the tone of voice is something that people see that you are genuine about it, and really giving people the option that they can also say no as well. Okay, another question from Jeremy is, how aggressive is too aggressive when following up with a company contact? That's a great question. I think that really there is a fine line of being eager versus desperate, right? That the eagerness is really showcasing the enthusiasm, the proactiveness, but the desperateness is when you're trying too hard to really prove yourself and to prove yourself here. And so I think a way in terms of the, let's get back to the question, is how aggressive, too aggressive following the company contact, I would say is you ought to, give it a timeline, I would say, right? If you're following up like every single day, that would be too aggressive. But if you give some time, at least that 5 business days before you follow up, that is fine. And if you position it as checking in, finding out the status, and letting them know that you're still interested in their opportunity, you're just giving them an FYI that, hey, you're still interested, versus like, you need to give me an answer now, right? So it's all a fine line there. And it's really going back to the tone of voice, showcasing that, hey, you're still interested, would love to stay in touch, versus I need an answer now, okay? Another question here is, who are the right people to network with? I've heard opinions that they're anyone from hiring managers to associates to C-level execs. You know what? It's really depending on the type of role. But you know what I would say first of all is you may want to first meet with people that are at more peer levels. That you start with the peer levels first, and then I would say then you move on to when you get more confident and you have a clear message. Then you move on to like the senior people such as hiring managers, C levels, and VPs as well. I have heard, and I've seen this too from people telling me that typically they find people who are more senior are more willing to help or to respond because they feel like there's probably that sense of giving back or the mentoring, and there's that less likely of a threat that they feel in terms of competing for their job. I have heard that people are more generous with their time from senior people. I had a client actually recently. He managed to get a phone call with the president of a CPG firm, and it was through an outreach that he did. Now he may not have responded instantly, but a few weeks later he followed up, and his assistant scheduled a meeting with him. Okay, and he's also scheduled meetings with a lot of VPs in pharmaceutical industries as well through Alumni Network. So I think that it really you have to be strategic, and also I think what's also important is that you ought to also be careful. Let's say that if you have a targeted company, you may not want to meet with all the same people who work together because then they're going to feel like you're being desperate or too aggressive of following up with you're talking to every single person within that company there. Okay, so fantastic questions. I hope that answers those questions that you have. If you have anything else, feel free to email me, diana@mymarketly.com, or check out my website, mymarketly.com, for my updated blog posts on a weekly basis. Until then, all the best, and cheers to your marketability. Bye now.